She is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA.
Rebecca Lobo's comments about Caitlin Clark and WNBA officiating have everyone talking, and many believe league executives can no longer ignore the growing concerns. After the controversial Fever-Sun game, the discussion surrounding officiating reached another level, with many pointing to it as another example of the intense spotlight now surrounding the league. Lobo, one of the most respected voices in women's basketball, added her perspective and highlighted concerns that many fans, analysts, and players have been debating. Whether you agree with her or not, her remarks have become a major part of the conversation. As the Fever continue to attract record attention, questions about officiating remain front and center. In this video, we'll break down Rebecca Lobo's comments, what they mean for Caitlin Clark, and why the ongoing Fever storyline continues to dominate headlines. If you're enjoying the content, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 83% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's completely free, takes just a second, and it helps the channel more than you know. Have you subscribed already? If so, thank you for your incredible support. Now, let's get back to the video.
The second-year player clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's laugh.
Caitlin Clark's remarkable return came just a few games ago. She erupted for 25 first-half points, including 3 deep logo three-pointers in a span of just 38 seconds. It was an electrifying performance that reminded fans exactly why they've been eager to see her back on the court. It also served as a reminder to the rest of the league of the impact she can have whenever she's at her best.
And Cunningham is down behind the play, but they've got Caitlin Clark. 2 players with incredible up. Clark, another long three.
That game made one thing crystal clear. Caitlin Clark's impact on the WNBA extends far beyond the box score. When she missed 5 games, it wasn't just another injury absence. It highlighted just how much influence she has on the league. Television audiences declined, social media engagement slowed, and the national conversation around the WNBA lost momentum. Without Clark on the floor, many of the league's biggest storylines generated far less attention, underscoring the significant role she plays in driving fan interest.
But here we go with Caitlin Clark, singularly, being missing for the time she was gone, and ratings tanking, 50% in some cases. And then also she comes back and reminds everyone how spectacular she is, and everybody's talking about the WNBA. So if you needed to sort of have it affirmed to you that it is just her, that the singularity of her is what we are talking about, and her star power, you got it with this absence and then the way she came back.
Caitlin Clark's return provided a major boost to the WNBA after weeks of declining ratings and growing criticism. Her matchup against the New York Liberty drew a peak audience of 2.8 million viewers, making it one of the most-watched WNBA broadcasts ever. By comparison, the NHL Stanley Cup Final averaged around 2.5 million viewers. While basketball and hockey are very different sports, Clark's ability to attract an audience comparable to, or even larger than, a championship series in a century-old men's league is remarkable. Yet despite those numbers, many believe WNBA leadership has failed to fully recognize what they represent, a point we'll return to shortly. Olympic gold medalist, Basketball Hall of Famer, and one of ESPN's most respected analysts, Rebecca Lobo, certainly didn't overlook Clark's impact. But before we get to her comments about the officiating, let's first look at how she described the magnitude of Clark's return.
Rebecca, tell me, what does Clark's return mean for the WNBA?
I mean, it means a lot more people are paying attention once again. We know how much Caitlin drives ratings. We know how much Caitlin drives attention on the WNBA. And for her to come back and do it in that way was just ridiculous. there at the end of the first quarter when she had that 38-second stretch where she drained deep three after deep three after deep three. I was just sitting there thinking, I've been around this league since 1997. I have never seen that in a WNBA game. Have we seen players go on runs? Of course we have, but not like that. Not where a couple of the three-pointers are from 30-plus feet. It was an exhibition by her.
Pay close attention to what Rebecca Lobo said. People are watching again. It's a simple statement, but it carries a much deeper meaning. If people are watching again, it suggests that many had stopped watching before. And everyone knows when that shift happened, during the period when Caitlin Clark was out of the lineup. Lobo didn't stop there, though. She went on to explain why fans returned the moment Clark stepped back onto the court.
This angle is wild, folks. There's the eye gouge. Watch Mabry. Boom! I mean, come on.
Hey, we would have been crashing that team.
Courtney, if somebody ever tackles you like that,
Nobody would ever tackle me like that. They would play with Bridget like that, and then we would have to like take it up there.
okay.
You see what I'm saying?
But I'm just saying.
Nobody would ever play with me like
If
that.
that ever happened, you better crash out behind me, because I'm crashing out behind you.
T,
We can share the same jail cell.
That's the difference. These weren't ordinary long-range jumpers or routine deep threes. They were logo shots from well beyond the arc, shots that very few players can make consistently, let alone with such confidence. That's exactly why fans tune in to watch. Even opponents have acknowledged the challenge of defending her. As Natasha Cloud noted, once Caitlin Clark crosses half court, defenders have to pick her up immediately. That kind of range and shooting ability isn't normal. Just ask Rebecca Lobo.
JC Sheldon right here with an entire handful of Caitlin Clark's shoulder and bicep, and she's twisting it. Okay? I mean, this is wild. Here's the zoomed out look, the snapshot. I mean, this league does not have control of its players.
Everything that's been happening, not just since Caitlin Clark's return, but throughout last season and this one, has raised growing concerns. At this point, the discussion goes beyond missed calls or physical defense. Many believe it reflects a pattern that has become noticeable enough for longtime WNBA voices like Rebecca Lobo to address. The game against the Sun only intensified that conversation. Following a sequence involving JC Sheldon and Marina Mabry, many fans and commentators questioned why no ejections were issued after the on-court contact involving Clark. Yes, Clark and Sheldon had exchanged words earlier in the game, but many argued that verbal exchanges should never justify unnecessary physical contact. Critics also warned that the league cannot expect to grow while its biggest stars become the center of repeated officiating controversies. Even the broadcast team sounded surprised by what unfolded, and a reaction across the basketball world, from fans to coaches, analysts, and former players, was immediate.
The game has changed so much. Players are faster, they're better, they're bigger, they're stronger. They're as good as they've ever been. They're as athletic as they've ever been. The game is fast now. Things are happening quickly. Everybody's getting better, except the official.
Caitlin Clark's face scratch and the shove quickly went viral, becoming one of the biggest talking points of the game. But many viewed it as more than an isolated moment. Tension had been building throughout the matchup, and critics argued that the officials allowed the physicality to escalate instead of bringing it under control early.
What was that play? Oh my God, this is rigged. This is rigged. She got yanked, fell on her hip. That's a hack. That's a hack. That's a hack. Oh my God, they hacked the one upon her and they hacked Caitlin Clark. They are both hacks. They are both hacks. They hacked Fever twice, and then there was a phantom foul called on Sabrina Ionescu.
And once emotions reached the boiling point, the game became even more physical. Stephanie White was clearly frustrated after the final buzzer. Even before she spoke, her body language told the story. She sat down at the podium, took a deep breath, and then openly shared her thoughts about what had unfolded.
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing, that it doesn't go both ways, or it hasn't gone both ways.
That's perhaps the strongest way to criticize the officiating without calling anyone out by name. The message was clear. While everyone else around the league is improving, the officiating is not. It cuts straight to the heart of what many players, coaches, and fans have been feeling all season. And the biggest concern is that this didn't begin with the game against the Sun. It's been building for months. The inconsistent officiating, the missed calls, and what many see as a lack of protection for players like Caitlin Clark have become an increasingly common part of the conversation.
The second time where I'm attacking, it's very physical. I'm saying something to the ref, watch my landing space, watch physicality. I get laughed at, and it ends in my ankle getting turned. The same thing happened in Dallas, a flagrant that wasn't called. Same thing happened here. So my ankle is hanging in there, but it's starting to get very frustrating. I'm averaging less than 2 free throws a game, and I drive, I'm physical. I'm not someone who's avoiding contact. So I just hope that the safety of players starts to become a priority versus the ego of refs.
From the start of the season, many felt the Fever weren't getting consistent calls, but their 90-88 loss to the Liberty pushed those frustrations to a new level. It became one of the league's most debated games among both fans and players. Many believe the officiating was inconsistent, with New York earning frequent trips to the free throw line while Indiana struggled to get the same whistles. What sparked the biggest reaction, however, were the controversial non-calls in the closing moments. On the final possession, many fans argued that Caitlin Clark was fouled by Natasha Cloud before she could even attempt a shot, a sequence that quickly spread across social media as replay after replay circulated online. Analysts questioned the decision, supporters voiced their frustration, and Stephanie White didn't hide her disappointment afterward. Ironically, after speaking out about the officiating following the Sun game, she was later fined, leading some fans to believe the league was acknowledging the controversy without directly addressing it. Whether that's true or not, the growing frustration surrounding officiating has become impossible to ignore. And before we get to Rebecca Lobo's comments, which many believe carry significant weight, we first need to understand the increasing level of concern building across the WNBA.
It is very difficult to officiate because of all of the contact that's happening around her all of the time. That being said, I was in contact with a number of WNBA coaches yesterday about this topic of the officiating in the WNBA, and all of them said it needs to get better. Specifically, the consistency, not only from one game to the next, but the consistency within.
Instead of feeling that their concerns about overly physical play are being taken seriously, many players believe their complaints are too often brushed aside. That brings us back to Rebecca Lobo and why this discussion matters for Caitlin Clark. According to Lobo, some players have openly expressed concerns that if the current trend continues, someone could eventually get hurt. The broader point is one many people around the league recognize. Caitlin Clark has become one of the WNBA's biggest attractions. Whether they openly acknowledge it or not, the league, its players, its broadcast partners, and its fans all understand the impact she has on the sport. To her credit, Rebecca Lobo didn't sugarcoat her perspective. She delivered her message in a measured and thoughtful way. But if you listen closely, the concern behind her words is even more significant than it first appears.
Coach told me we tell our players to be as physical as they can possibly be for 40 minutes because we know for 38 of them, they're pretty much going to get away with it. So I think everybody would like to see a tighter whistle and a little bit more freedom of movement.
Did you catch what she just revealed? She wasn't talking about just a few coaches, According to her, every coach she's spoken to has raised concerns about the officiating, suggesting this isn't an isolated complaint, but a league-wide issue. If that's an accurate reflection of what coaches are saying, the pressure on the WNBA to review its officiating standards, improve consistency, and strengthen player safety could become impossible to ignore. Discussions that once stayed behind closed doors may now demand real action, whether through increased accountability, additional training, or updated officiating procedures. Then came the statement that turned heads across the basketball world. If the refs won't protect our players, we'll protect them ourselves. Whether viewed as frustration, a warning, or a call for accountability, those words have intensified the debate and added even greater urgency to the ongoing conversation about officiating and player safety in the WNBA.
And like, they just kept shoving Caitlin. They're like, well, they can't just keep calling fouls. I'm like, they're literally just running around hacking her. The referees have made it like a point that this is how you beat the fever. You hack them. You don't even, it's not being physical, you just hack them. Because the referees are going to allow them be hacked. Late in the game with the fever, hack them. Not being physical, hack them. Don't go for the ball, hack them.
That's the heart of the issue. It's like removing highway patrol and expecting drivers to slow down on their own. Without enforcement, some will inevitably take greater risks. Critics argue that if officiating standards aren't consistently enforced, players may feel pressured to play more aggressively because they believe the rules won't be applied evenly. Supporters of that view point to the hard fouls on Caitlin Clark, the physical play, and the growing frustration from coaches and fans as signs that the problem is escalating. They warn that if similar incidents continue without a clear response, people may begin to see them as more than isolated mistakes, raising even more questions about player safety and the league's commitment to consistent officiating.
That's a flagrant foul. It's a hard...
And honestly, it's easy to understand why the league values rivalries. Competitive matchups generate excitement, attract viewers, and help grow the sport. Physical, emotional competition has always been part of basketball. But many critics argue that when the conversation shifts from healthy rivalry to unnecessary physicality, especially involving a player as high-profile as Caitlin Clark, the league risks sending the wrong message. They believe the WNBA doesn't need manufactured controversy or dangerous play to capture attention, because it already has one of the most recognizable, talked about, and marketable stars in women's basketball. For many fans, that's exactly why this ongoing debate has become so important.
As we expected, Sophie Cunningham has reached 1 million followers. 1 million followers. Sophie Cunningham on TikTok has gained, if I'm not mistaken, I think she has gained nearly 900,000 followers. It's at least 700,000. Sophie Cunningham on TikTok now has 1 million followers.
Everyone talks about the TV ratings whenever Caitlin Clark is on the court versus when she's not. We've all heard that discussion. But one of the most overlooked examples of what many fans call the Caitlin Clark effect may be the attention surrounding Sophie Cunningham. To many observers, Cunningham's recent experience has become another example cited in the broader conversation about Clark's influence on fan interest, media coverage, and the growing spotlight on the WNBA.
Indiana Fever, they need to go hockey, and let me explain this. The great Wayne Gretzky, the greatest hockey player in my lifetime, okay, all respect due to Gordie Howe and everyone else, but they had a rule in the National Hockey League, and I've heard quotes where defensemen have said, they were asked, hey, how come you don't nail Gretzky along the board? They said, no, we'll hit him. But they say, we'll never take a cheap shot, we'll never take anything unnecessary or anything too far, because we understand his importance to the league, and part of our paycheck we owe to him.
Sophie Cunningham's profile grew significantly after she publicly supported Caitlin Clark, with many fans pointing to a surge in her social media following and increased interest in her merchandise. Across platforms like TikTok, supporters praised her competitiveness and independence, with comments such as, I guess I'm watching the WNBA now, and asterisk, I really need a Cunningham jersey. Asterisk from many observers, the story isn't just about Sophie. It's about what they see as a broader pattern. They argue that players who publicly support Caitlin Clark often receive increased attention from fans, helping boost interest in those players and their teams while encouraging more people to follow the WNBA. Whether that growth happens gradually or arrives all at once, many believe Clark's presence has played a major role in expanding the league's audience. Now the debate continues. What do you think about the officiating, the physical style of play, and the league's response? Share your thoughts in the comments.
So I think that the WNBA as a whole is in an amazing place. Now it's about business to me.
Kathy Engelbert praised the league star by saying, quote, "She's the most popular athlete in America." Not women's basketball player, not WNBA player, not NBA player, the most popular athlete in America.